your mouth and say, ah.
Go on, say Sure.
Go on, say ah. But it doesn't even hurt at all. What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid to do it. Watch me. Ah.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
When the static of life fills your brain and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate. There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk, the music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Welcome aboard to one and all to the world's oldest and original recovery talk and recovery music radio station and podcast with Roger McDermott from Huntington Beach, California. Jack McCann from right here in good old Albany, Oregon. I am your host, recovered alcoholic, the Monty Man. And of course, we have the Make Believe Take 12 Recovery Radio Orchestra. We got Roger's coffee cup. There it is. Some useless and mindless information. Jack's playing with his coaster. That just sounded wrong.
It did.
We got a song at the end of the show called The Presidents.
Roger's blushing right now.
The topic is surgery, pain meds, and recovery.
Oh, Lordy.
Joy and cheer.
He's whining already.
Recovery talk.
I can't feel the knob on my mixer. That sounded bad too, didn't it?
It did. Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
This could turn out really bad.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Yeehaw.
Hee hee. Roger, how's your neighborhood today?
It's a lovely day in the neighborhood, in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah.
So Roger just returned from Canoga Park, California, where he helped to present the message of the 12 steps in 3 days to the Salvation Army down there.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Taking people through the steps and giving them an opportunity to experience a spiritual awakening as a result of those steps. And another weekend of miracles, true?
Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
We honor him, he honors us, and the lives are changed.
Yeah, that is so great.
Awesome.
That is so cool. And Jack is here, and we've got him for a few more weeks, it looks like, right? Yeah. So he's been a great guest co-host. Jack, I appreciate you so much, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, too. You too, Roger.
Yes, it's the Appreciation Club today. Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, boy.
Okay, everybody, stop the presses. I've got to just jump in here right now because it's that time of the show for the Take 12 Recovery Radio Useless and Mindless Information.
That's right. It's just no end to Cecil's creativity. The average American looks at 8 houses before they actually buy one.
I believe it.
8.
Wow.
8. Looks at 8. There's 1.
Wow.
There's 2. There's 3.
I think I looked at about 30 before I bought one.
30?
I think it was
Wow.
about 30, yes.
Right-handed people on average live 9 years longer than left-handed people.
Well, that's good because I'm right-handed.
You're right. I'm right-handed. Are you right-handed, Jack?
Yes, I am.
All right.
There we have it.
We'll be around longer to annoy people.
You're going to know your wife that much longer?
You better be nice to me.
I am being nice to you.
Women have more taste buds than men.
And they have bad taste in men, too.
And they have bad taste in men, too. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Women see more colors than men.
I believe it.
Really? That's
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Al Capone's business card said he was a used furniture dealer.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
By the way, we don't know if there's any validity to any of these claims. We just pull them out of the air.
You pull them out of the air.
I pull them out of the air.
Oh, boy. That almost bit you.
The average American spends about 2.5 days a year looking for lost items.
Monty, how many?
2.5 days a year looking for lost items. Okay.
Yeah, things they've lost.
I think we do a lot more than that as we get older.
You know what? So for the longest time, I could not hold on to a pair of sunglasses for more than maybe a month.
Because they were always on top of your head.
No, I'd lay them down somewhere and then I just forget them. You know, now I use prescription ones. They're a little spendy, so you're a little more careful.
Yes.
But yeah, I believe that nutmeg is extremely poisonous if injected intravenously. I'm like, okay, yeah, we knew nutmeg wasn't really good for you to be, eating too much of, but who's injecting?
Monty, did you ever inject nutmeg?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe I did because I had blackouts. So maybe I did.
He wound up here in Oregon.
I used to ask
side
people, say,
effects.
did you ever shoot up dope? Nope, never did that. Did you ever have a blackout? All the time. Then how do you know?
True.
Very true.
Yeah.
Nutmeg, though.
Here's what I love this. I love it. Pound cake. You know pound cake. Everybody loves pound cake, don't they?
It can be good and it can be really bad.
Can it be bad? I've never had bad pound cake.
Fruit cake.
What'd you call me? Pound cake originally included a pound of all its ingredients. That's why they called it pound cake.
Cool.
Well, if you included a pound of all of its ingredients, then it would be more than a pound cake.
It would be. It'd be pounds cake.
It'd be pounds cake.
Pounds cake.
Depends on how big the cake actually is.
Well, it'd be big, you would think, right?
9-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch.
I've had bad fruitcake.
Bad fruitcake is really bad.
You know what, though? I don't
fruit
mind
cake is
fruitcake
really
if
bad.
it's toasted, sliced and toasted with some butter on it. I kind of like it.
And those jellied things that they stick in there, those hard jelly.
Those are supposed to be dates, little fruit datey things.
Nasty things.
All right, here's
I love dates, but not that. That's caca.
the only real person to be a Pez head. You know what a Pez head is, right? The little candy thing,
Yeah.
the Pez
Yeah.
candies. The only real person was Betsy Ross.
What?
Otherwise,
the only real person of a Pez was
Pez
Betsy
head
Ross.
was Betsy Ross. Yeah. So they had pigs and Mickey Mouse and all sorts of things like that, fictional characters. But the only person that they depicted supposedly was Betsy Ross.
I never knew there was a Betsy Ross Pez head.
I didn't either.
Wow.
Okay, here's your last one. Praise the Lord. Queen Elizabeth II let her cow sleep on her waterbed.
I'm not that. What? No,
Go in there.
I'm sorry. Not,
You
yeah,
don't
no.
buy it? I do.
Queen Elizabeth II. Was this the one that just passed a few years
I don't
ago?
know.
Or was that the one back?
It was the second one.
Well, there's been a whole bunch of them.
It was.
I'm talking about the year range because they didn't have water beds back in those early days.
They had a bed with water.
They didn't have water beds during Queen Elizabeth II's reign.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, he looked it up on the internet.
All right, let's put an end to this, and we'll come back with the topic.
The wine and cheese.
All right, we'll be right back. Here's a question for you. Have you ever felt stagnant in your recovery? Kind of like you were stuck in your recovery. Well, I've been there, and I'm sure you have too at times. Hey, it's the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and here's a quote from one of my favorite authors. Without self-acceptance, there can be no change, no honesty, no physical sobriety, and no emotional sobriety. It's from the book 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, Getting Your Recovery Unstuck, by our good friend and Take 12 Recovery Radio contributor, Dr. Alan Berger. I want to get a copy of this book in your hand. Everyone in the recovery community, and probably many that are not, would benefit from this amazing book. You want to enhance your recovery? You want to move further on in the progression of being a better version of your authentic self? You need to get this book. Dr. Alan Berger's book, 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety, Getting Your Recovery Unstuck, is available by visiting his website at abphd.com. This book is also available on Amazon. You and I know the 12 steps. Now, know the 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety.
This is Tom Williams
And Alicia Martinez, and we'd like to invite you to join us right here at Take12Radio.com for the Came to Believe Recovery podcast.
Topics will include a deep look into the how and why the 12-step movement was so successful in the past and how it can experience that success again today.
Hey everybody, come celebrate with me and the incredible recovery community of Lynn County, Oregon as we gather together for the 11th annual Recovery in the Park. Tuesday, July 22nd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at beautiful Bryant Park, Albany, Oregon. We're going to have live music, raffles, community resource fair, activities for the kids, and free burgers and dogs. So come on and celebrate with me and all my friends at this year's Recovery in the Park. Tuesday, July 22nd from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at beautiful Bryant Park, Albany, Oregon.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Woohoo!
All right, welcome back to the show. You've tuned into the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Roger McDermott is on the line along with Jack McCann. By the way, we are launching a brand new podcast called Buddha Time. Step up to the front of the line with Tommy Buddha, blues artist extraordinaire, and it's going to drop. That's how you say it these days. Used to be it's going to launch. I guess now it's going to drop. It's going to drop on July 4th, on the 4th of July, the first show.
Kind of like a rock.
And a gentleman by the name of Static is going to be our guest.
Awesome.
And we're going to talk all about that on July 4th. So that's coming up. Wednesday's Came to Believe Recovery podcast. The topic is going to be celebrating sobriety times and milestones, that kind of thing. And then next week here on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show on Monday is sponsoring old timers. Now that's a topic I have never heard before. Sponsoring.
Me neither.
Yeah. Whoa. So we're gonna talk about that. But today, and I'm gonna read you something. It's probably not a whole lot of news to a lot of you, but just for the sake of information, so you have it. Because the topic is surgery, pain meds, and recovery, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. Prescription pain medication abuse remains a significant public health concern in the United States. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, an estimated 119 million Americans aged 12 or older were past year users this past year of prescription psychotherapeutic drugs, with pain relievers being the most commonly used category. The misuse of prescription pain relievers is particularly prevalent among certain age groups. For instance, 32.5% more men than women use pain relievers. Additionally, the initiation of prescription drug misuse is highest among individuals aged 12 to 17 and 18 to 25, with pain relievers being the most commonly misused. Opiates such as oxycodone and hydrocodone are among the most commonly abused prescription pain medications. Oxycodone, often referred to as Oxy, is as powerful as heroin and has a high potential for abuse. Hydrocodone, commonly found in medications like Vicodin, is also frequently misused. The sources of prescription drug misuse vary, with many individuals obtaining pain relievers through prescriptions or by stealing from healthcare providers. The main reasons for misuse include increasing or decreasing the effect of other drugs, with specific percentages reported for pain relievers, tranquilizers, stimulants, and sedatives. In 2020, approximately 143 million opiate prescriptions were dispensed from pharmacies in the United States. 143 million prescriptions in 1 year. So it's interesting to note, though, that at least out here in the West Coast, from California up to Washington, what I found in talking with people and my own experience is doctors are running scared. And they will very seldom prescribe you any kind of opiate-based pain medication, even for real severe stuff, right? So I knew that I was going to be in some discomfort today because I just had carpal tunnel surgery done on my right hand. Now, in July, I'm going to have it done on my left hand. And I'm a wimp. I always joke around about this, but I get a paper cut and I'm in the emergency room. You know what I mean? And so I told my surgeon, Dr. Sai, that, you know, and I go, so here's the thing. I'm really, I do not have a high tolerance to pain. He goes, oh, so you're a wimp. And I said, yeah. And he goes, okay. I understand. We can talk about that. So I had my carpal tunnel surgery, and I will tell you that it went incredibly well. I have an incision in my wrist that's probably no bigger than a ½ inch with only one stitch. It wasn't too many years ago they had to really rip open your hand.
Yes, they did.
To do carpal tunnel surgery. It's not the case, or it probably depends on the surgeon too. This guy's amazing. He's been your surgeon, right?
Yes, he has
Jack?
been.
But my need to use the pain medication hasn't been much.
Good.
It just hasn't been. I mean, I was in some major discomfort when everything wore off, you know, the local that they put in your hand and all that, because that kind of hurts in itself, just the going away at the numbness and all that kind of thing, right? Yep. But I expected this to be a whole lot worse than it was. Yeah, because surgery just scares me, man, you know. But I sat there and I'm like, I didn't take anything for the longest time. I just thought, I don't need to. Why take it if I don't need to?
And then it woke up and said, hi, remember me?
Well, you know, but Marcia reminded me, she goes, you might want to get ahead of it.
Yep.
So we could be, you know, especially those of us in the recovery community, we can be, you know, we're the heroes, right? I don't need my pain medication.
Well, Pucky.
Well, if you don't follow what the doctor's telling you to do,
yes, you
might end up finding another way to medicate. Just saying. So don't be a hero.
Or wind up in the emergency room trying to get a handle on it because you've waited too long.
Because you've waited too long.
Yes.
Right? So I was a good boy, and I took my pill, and all has been well. But there is varied opinions about the use of pain medication within the recovery community. There's folks that truly believe that if you're using pain medication in any form, that you're in relapse or you're not really clean and sober, and yeah. So let's talk about that. Roger's shaking his head. Roger, what do you think about that philosophy that, if you're taking pain meds as directed, that you're really not practicing your recovery program?
When I had double hernia surgery, I had a bottle of Vicodin that was, 100 tabs. And the doctor said, take it every 4 hours for pain. And if that doesn't work, then take another one. And when I was in pain, I took one. And if the pain went away, I didn't take any more. And so after 3 or 4 days of recovery, I flushed the rest of them down the toilet. There was no thought in my mind that I wanted to get high. None whatsoever. Because I fully conceded to my innermost self that I'm an alcoholic, and that's the first step in recovery, and I had no interest in changing or altering my reality. The fact was, it was given to me to alleviate pain, which allows the body to heal properly, because if the brain is in serious pain, it starts doing all kinds of crazy chemicals.
Yes, it does.
And so that's the point, and I don't care what... I'm adamant about this. There's no... The physicians in the rooms, the meeting rooms, are not doctors. They don't know what they're talking about.
They're not?
And if somebody's taking it to get high, then they weren't recovered to begin with.
Right.
So it doesn't... Yeah.
How long had you been sober? When
that was my first year.
It was your first year? Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't even a year sober.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was my first few months.
Some might say, yeah, but... So let's play devil's advocate for a minute. People that would focus on the symptoms and not the causes and conditions might say, well, you're not a drug addict, you're an alcoholic. So that's why it didn't affect you that way. I mean,
alcohol is a drug. Sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Nicotine, food,
right,
anything.
Right. That's why I say these are people that focus on the symptoms, not the causes and conditions. So it doesn't really matter if it's food, pornography, booze, or narcotics,
correct,
right? The causes and conditions is still the same. We got a God-shaped hole. We're trying to fill it with everything but God. We're trying to fill it with our own intellect, that kind of thing. But having said that, there is something to be said about the chemical reaction of the brain on narcotics versus alcohol. It is different.
Yes.
There's some differences there. And so... Yeah, you might not struggle with opiates as far as phenomenon of cravings being released from the opiates, and you might with alcohol. That is true. So who knows? I mean, I would say, however, if somebody is really new in their sobriety, and you need to take pain medication, you may want some assistance with that. Some accountability
sure.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. We joke about, on the bottle of these things, it says take as needed.
For pain. Pain.
I'm in so much pain. I'm so feverish. I need some pain meds.
I got a boo-boo.
But you said something the other day that surprised me a little bit, Jackie. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said that you had pain meds. You didn't need them anymore, but you held on to them in case you needed them later.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
The reason why I said that, I'm going to jump ahead.
Yeah, because there's people that are going, whoa, wait a minute, dude.
I've had major surgery on my right shoulder. I'm still recovering from that. No, I'm not taking any pain meds at the moment, and not in the foreseeable future, but I also had surgery on my wrist. And it's bone that's been removed or reshaped, a bicep that's been reattached, collarbone.
Oh.
I mean, I have 4 screws in my right shoulder, just a complete makeover. And there's times where I overdo it, and I know myself that I will overdo it and go, crap. And instead of running to the emergency room or doctor, yes, that is a kind of a safety net that keeps me in line so that I can heal. Like Roger said, if we're not healing, if this up here is firing off on all cylinders because you hurt and you can't sleep, you're not healing.
Right.
So this is my little safety precaution. And once I get past the next few more months, the doctor's going to release me. I'll go back to work. Then I'll get rid of the things. But I don't utilize them for the purpose of getting high. That was never my forte. I liked booze. I loved booze. And pain pills, I hate the dang things. In all honesty, it causes too many complications within the internal body. It messes with your mind. I think even worse than any alcohol or other types of drugs. Pain pills dulls everything. I still have moments and memory lapses because of the recent surgeries I've had. When I had both my knees redone, there was 6 months, I had nothing. I don't remember a lot of that whole portion that year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of portions when, there's pictures of me from after the surgeries, smile on my face because I was pain-free, but I don't remember from October of last year until after surgery, back in January this year. Starting my memories coming back, and I don't have this fogginess. And I thank God it was because I took the drugs out of the system, and I can think clearly, have a conversation with you and Roger. But yeah, use the pain pills as they're supposed to be. Put them aside if you're able to control that portion, and when you're done, give them back to the doctor or take them to one of these places that can utilize them for people that are in pain that can't afford the drugs and such.
Yeah, I don't know if they give your drugs. Do they do that?
There's a lot of places that will take glasses, prescription drugs that still have some potency that they'll reutilize. For
really?
I believe that. I might be wrong, but
yeah,
I might have read that, so I don't know.
So please, listeners, don't think that we're saying that this may not be okay for you. And you know what? I don't know about you guys. I think I do, though. If we're really honest with ourselves, we know what works and what doesn't, don't we? I mean, really think about that. Even in the middle of my dysfunction and when my thinking was the worst it had ever been, even then, I knew what was going to work, what wasn't going to work, the difference between right and wrong, good and evil. I knew. Even when I was out of my mind high, I knew. Didn't you guys? I mean, really, when you think about it, you knew what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Come on.
Yeah. What was it, 3 weeks ago, I got out with the weed eater and did my yard work and 3 hours of weed eating and riding the lawnmower. I paid for it for 3 days. Yes, I did take a pain pill that night so I could sleep because...
See, and one would say, okay, Jack, stop pushing yourself to the point where you need to take those pain pills.
Understand that, but I have to get my body back in shape, and it's going to take time. And that's what the doctors say. And I pushed it to the point I shouldn't have, but I did have that as a fallback. I did it for the one night, put them back away.
Yeah.
So
3 hours weed eating.
Well, I got an acre of property.
Yeah. No.
It's weed eating.
I hire people for stuff like that.
I do too. I have a yard guy.
I'm not doing it.
I have limited funds.
Ricardo and his son, Ricardo.
Yeah.
I have Ricardo and Ricardo.
That's your son.
They're great. They're Northwest lawn maintenance guys.
They're happy to do it. They love doing it, and I'm happy to pay them. So.
Yeah.
You want to pay for mine? I got an acre of land.
You got an acre of land.
I got a riding mower, and I got all the implements of distraction.
No. There's people up there that you can pay that'll do that happily for you.
I have a very limited income right now.
So. Oh, man. I hear that. So okay. Yeah, because you've had a lot of surgeries. I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Arthritis is a degenerative hereditary disease.
Right.
Both my knees were shot.
So, from what I'm understanding, and maybe some listeners could write in and tell us what your experience is in your area of the world, but here in the Pacific Northwest, if you're going to need pain management, your doctor's probably not going to prescribe you pain medication. What they're going to prescribe you to is a pain manager.
Yes.
And they're going to send you to somebody that specializes in that. I think that's a smart move. Because many times your general practitioner, your family doctor, has very little. Well, I know this for a fact. They've got like 5 hours max of addiction education in their entire medical school. They have very little education when it comes to substance use disorder. I was amazed at our family doctor how little he knew about addiction and recovery years ago.
Did you share with him your story?
Oh yeah. But I mean, he was like, this is when I was having, I had like 3 discs in my back that were fusing and doing the thing. And what they discovered was they just needed to leave it alone and let it do its thing, and it would work itself out. And it has. It was extremely painful. I had MRIs and all that kind of stuff. But he would write me a prescription for pain medication, for a ton of it without even blinking.
Yep.
And I didn't know any better. I just figured, okay, I don't think I ever used all of them, but he had no idea. And he knew that I was, a recovered alcoholic. He knew that.
Wow.
He's not my doctor anymore. Not because of that, but yeah, so there, here's the thing too. I think we need to be gut level honest with our physicians.
Yep.
Right, guys? We need to let them know, just like we would let them know if we had asthma. Just like we would, if we get a new doctor, we talk to them. Listen, doc, they gave you that form, all these different things. Do you have diabetes? Do you have heart disease? You blah blah blah. And on there, it talks about, have you ever struggled with, narcotic addiction, alcoholism? Do you smoke? Have you ever smoked? One of the questions that they ask about tobacco use, for instance, they want to know if you smoked even years ago. Because 20 years ago, if you gave up smoking, like for me, it's been 27 years, right? It still can have an effect on you today.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to know that. So we need to be honest with our doctors and let them know where we've been, where we are today, right?
Yes.
And hopefully they'll work for you. People like Dr. Sy are just amazing.
When I seen Dr. Sy and then I seen the shoulder surgeon, I told both of them that I had a problem with alcohol, that I was an alcoholic and in recovery, and I was very truthful and honest with them. I said I don't have the problems with the opiates and such. I hate them, matter of fact, because I don't like what they do to my body other than taking away the pain, because the digestive tract, oh God, it's just terrible. I absolutely...
Yeah, it does tear you up.
Yes.
So what do you guys think about these superheroes in recovery? I know a couple of them. They tell their doctor, don't give me narcotic pain medication under any circumstances. And I've known a couple of people that got through some surgeries without any pain medication at all. I'm talking about post pain medication, not during surgery, obviously. But and I'm like, have you lost your cotton picking mind? I mean, because we've talked about that. If your body's in that much pain,
mm-hmm.
it causes more pain.
Oh God.
I don't know. Well, oh yeah, I went through. I mean, they had to reattach my fingers because I got them cut off on a saw, and I didn't take any pain medication through that whole thing. I don't know. I think that's just foolish, personally.
I agree. I agree. I mean,
how's that responsible?
I think when any of us are in that situation, it requires us to have that discussion with ourselves. Okay, I have a prescription for Norco, Vicodin, Oxy, whatever it is. Am I going to take this drug only when I need it to relieve the pain, as the doctor said?
Yep.
And if the answer is no, then I'm not going to get it. But I'm not taking it to get high. I'm not. And as a matter of fact, if I did take it and it altered my frame of mind, I would stop. I would stop and call the doctor and say, I'm having a negative reaction to these meds. Get me something else that is not opiate based. because they have other things they can prescribe. I think this is just my thoughts about this, that the people that claim they went out because of pain meds never really made a decision they were done.
Yep.
Using or changing was always optional. They had a reservation, and now that the doctor prescribed it, that makes it okay. No, it doesn't.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So I think we can talk ourselves. We're great rationalizers, right? Rational lies
Ooh, I
that
like
are
that.
not the truth. And I'm sorry, I'm over all that. I'm sick and tired of lying to myself.
Yeah.
Tell the truth, brother. Tell the truth. I love it.
Yeah. The truth's the truth, whether I like it or not.
Well, here's an interesting thing. I cannot take ibuprofen because of the triple bypass that I had. Once you've had heart surgery, they don't want you taking acetaminophen, and that's Tylenol, right? You can take that, but they don't want you taking ibuprofen. And when it came to headaches, that's the only thing that would solve my headache if I had a headache. Tylenol didn't do anything. Tylenol always helped bring down my fever if I had a fever.
How about Excedrin, which is acetaminophen and aspirin?
Yeah, Excedrin gave me headaches. I think I may have an allergic reaction to something in it. I mean, I might get terrible headaches from Excedrin.
That works for me for headaches.
But what I learned was, and this is the flip side of the coin, what I learned was I could put up with a lot more pain than I thought I could.
Mm-hmm.
I can get through a bad headache. You know, if I get a headache that comes on me and it lasts a couple hours, the couple hours does pass. You know what I'm saying? I think we could put up with a lot more pain that for being honest. So that's kind of the flip side of the coin. I remember when I went into residential treatment, it was the Teen Challenge program years ago, and I had an abscess, and I had to go to the dentist and have it yanked. That's all they did. They just yank it. They didn't fix it, right? And so they were adamant, this program was adamant that you could not be on any kind of pain medication whatsoever. None. And so I went, and I mean, they did some damage. This guy was kind of brutal, this dentist. They called him the butcher or something like that. But anyway, he was. And he ripped this tooth out, and another one cracked when he did it. And, it wasn't very comfortable. And they gave me ibuprofen and Tylenol, but no Tylenol with codeine or any of that kind of stuff, right? Just ibuprofen. So Advil and Tylenol. And you know what? The pain went away. I was blown away. I was like, I can't believe that worked. It's amazing when we stop using drugs, how the proper drugs will work. Does that make sense? Because we're masking it. We can't tell. It's like when I thought my dealer was selling me bad dope, but it wasn't bad dope. My body had just adjusted to the drugs, so nothing was working anymore. When you stop taking the narcotics and then you have to take something, sometimes the Tylenol and the Advil will work really, really well. But we know. I think instinctively we know what works, what doesn't, and if we're being honest or not. And then the whole point isn't the meds anymore. The whole point is, are you being honest with yourself? Are you really looking at yourself in the mirror and saying,
yes,
do I need to do this or not need to do this? But it is vitally important that if your body is going to be responding to something that is going to bring about major pain, you need to get ahead of it. You need to get ahead.
100%.
Yeah. It's even with Advil, if you stop taking it, you got to take it and then take your next dose before it wears off, kind of thing.
Advil's still not that good for your body.
It's not. And none of that stuff is good for you. I mean, in the long, all this stuff is meant to be taken temporarily, right? It's not.
Should be, yes.
It should be.
I mean, I can remember my last surgeries. I spent probably 6 to 8 weeks in my recliner. And I can remember being in the middle of the night, finally going to sleep, and about 3 hours later, maybe 4, the pain pills had wore off and wake up in that excruciating pain. Like, holy crap. Spend another 3 hours waiting for the pain pills to kick in and watch TV because you can't get comfortable. Everything's burning. And it's just going to take time. But crap. Wish they could have this little button we could just shut off her brain from hurting and let us heal and go back onto life.
So I was, when I had my hips replaced, gosh, I don't know how many years. It's been a long time. I developed, on my second hip replacement, I developed MRSA really, really bad.
Ooh.
And they had to reopen me up and drain it. And it was nasty. And they had me on some pretty strong pain medications. And I mean, it was severe, right? And it messed with my head. I mean, it really did. It messed with my head. It caused me to take more than I needed because I couldn't remember if I took any. You know what I mean? That's how messed up it made my head. Yep. And I shared that with some people in the program, and they convinced me that I had relapsed.
Yeah.
They convinced me of it. And I didn't know better. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Right? And so I changed my clean date. Well, then years later, I'm like, wait a minute. No. That was not. And I had some really heart-to-heart conversations with some people, and they said, listen, they were well-intended, but they were misinformed. That is not relapse.
Yep.
It messed with you, and your behavior changed because it was messing with you, not because you were going out drug-seeking. You know what I mean? It was a whole different thing. And I remember here not long ago when I celebrated 27 years, somebody said to somebody else, didn't he have a relapse? Blah, 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 blah. And this other person said to them, and I loved it, they said, you know what? Talk to him about that, which I appreciated.
Yes.
Right. But we could be well-meaning and tell somebody something like that. And again, watch your own bobber. Stay in your own lane.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. That's really all I have to say about that. I wanted to let people know that this is a real issue, and if you need to take pain medication, follow your doctor's orders. You may need some accountability. I'm not suggesting that you don't. I'm not suggesting you carry your Vicodin around with you in your pocket. If you're counting them every 5 minutes, you may have an issue.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be an issue.
Marcia counted mine the other day. I went,
well, that's a good thing.
Who's the addict here?
No, she was counting for you to be accountable to her.
And to make sure if you had any more further pain, they could call in for their
right, because you couldn't remember how many you took. Well, Marcia knew how many you took. I'm hurting.
I got a question for you, Monty.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about your surgery weeks ago. You were so adamant because you were afraid of the pain levels. I mean, you worked yourself up, in all honesty.
Yeah, surgery scares the poo-poo out of me.
But how do you feel now about the surgery after what happened?
I can't wait to get my left hand done. I'm excited about it.
The process changed over the course of this last
Oh my
week.
gosh.
Experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah, well,
and you got to share that, brother.
I was amazed. Now, this had been 15 years ago. It may have been more brutal, but
it was.
This Dr. Sai, it's just amazing. So you have to have all these bandages on for 3 days, right? Yes. So I was so excited to take this thing off today, and I took it off expecting a pretty good sized wound and maybe 4 or 5 stitches. And the thing was just not even a half inch with 1 stitch. And I'm like, what?
People go, where's it at?
Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, all right, come on. Why do I have to wait to do the left hand? Let's get it done right away.
You got 4 days on the bandage. I had 20 plus.
20 plus days?
Yes.
Gee whiz. Yes. The thing about surgery, I'll tell you what I really, really hate about surgeries isn't the surgery itself. It's them putting the IV in to put me night-night.
Knock me out.
I hate that. putting the IV in your hand or whatever, that is like the worst part of the whole thing.
You're a wimp, Marky.
I am a wimp. In fact, the lady that did it this time, she sprayed the freezy stuff on it first. I've never had him do that. And that worked great.
Yes.
It was like, do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go in every week or something.
And then not being able to take a shower on that portion of the body for how many days? It was 20 some odd days, 21 days before I could shower from
that's
elbow
horrible.
down.
So the anesthesiologist, he goes, okay, it's nap time. And so I'm laying there and my nose itched. So I had scratched my nose and I'm like, wow, nothing's happening. I'm not going to sleep. I said, hey, doc, when's this take place? When do I actually fall asleep? He goes, right about, and that's the last word I remember was the word about.
Yep.
And then I woke up and the nurse guy, he's standing right there. He goes, how you doing? And I'm going, wow. And because I was only out for like 20 minutes.
They used a nerve block on you too, right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
The doctor did a wonderful job. So does the anesthesiologist. Awesome.
And then they gave me a shot of cortisone. I have a trigger finger, my little finger. You know what trigger finger is, Roger?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Cramps in place.
I hope you never had it. It's where your finger becomes kind of robotic. I mean, it's kind of like a piece of metal going snap, 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 snap. I mean, and it's very painful. You can't open your hand up without it really, really hurting. And then it kind of wears off as, if you rub it, that kind of thing.
It locks in place is what happens.
It locks in place.
Okay.
Your finger could be like that and go.
Yeah. So he gave me a cortisone shot right there, which helped a little bit. But the pain that I felt from the carpal tunnel, instantly gone, absolutely gone. He says it'll be gone and it'll never come back. And because my whole hand was on fire, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just and it would hurt all the way up to my elbow, my whole arm. It was horrible. And it's gone, instantly gone.
I think it's from patting yourself on the back so much. Mom.
You think? What a brat. Okay, so you may agree with us today. You may disagree. We'd love to hear from you. Take12radio@comcast.net is our email address. That's using the number 12. Yeah. So closing thoughts. Jack, you first. Yeah, character you.
Use the prescription drugs you're supposed to, guys and ladies. And if you have a problem and your local community that you check in with through the drug and alcohol programs that are available out there, you have your staff that are people that's calling, checking on you after surgery, family and friends. That's not working. Get a hold of your doctor. Say, I have a problem. Like Roger said, change my medication because this is not working. My head's not right. Need to do something different. You can control it and keep it manageable, then do such. There's always hope out there. There's always help out there. Reach out because that's what we're supposed to do for each other.
Yeah, speak up.
Yes,
speak
please
up.
do.
Roger, closing thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. First of all, check your motives. What's going through your mind before you know you're going to get pain medications as a prescription. If that's a challenge, have that discussion with your doctor and say, you know what? I don't think I want to take these. I need something that would be an alternative to opiates. So prescribe me something that's an alternative to alleviate the pain. It's not the only option. But, get rigorously honest, to thy own self be true. Have that chat with yourself. And then share it with the doctor. Maybe share it with your sponsor. Get an accountability partner. Just eliminate any weird thinking. Because that's,
Yeah. Weird thinking is weird.
Weird thinking
is weird.
Because we're masters at weird thinking.
Yes, manipulation, aren't we?
So I would never manipulate another individual.
As Roger says, rationalize.
Rational lies.
Yes.
Rational lies. I like that. Rational
Me
lies.
too.
Okay, so I may get myself in trouble here. What else is new?
Yeah, I hope so.
Our closing song is by Tony Morosi and the recovery band Self-Esteem. It's not really a recovery song, but I thought, there's a lot going on in the world right now that is interesting, to say the least. We may not wake up tomorrow. Who knows? But you know what? I don't really care. I have total peace of my heart because I know who my God is. And, you know, and so I am not going to stop having a few chuckles over some of the crazy stuff that's going on. People say, well, don't you care? Yeah, I care. I care just enough to keep my sense of humor. You know what I mean? And I keep thinking about what Roger says. I have no valid complaints. I just love that. I just love that. Plenty of complaints, but none of them are valid. This song is called The Presidents. Oh, boy. And it was written a while back, so it doesn't include any recent ones. But it's all tongue-in-cheek. And I just thought, you know, what was that show? Candid Camera. Remember Candid Camera?
Oh, yeah.
The theme song was, it's fun to laugh at yourself as other people do, right? We got to keep
Rule 62.
Yeah. Yeah, Rule 62. If you don't know what that is, ask somebody.
Yeah.
Truth or consequences.
So listen to this, and then we'll close out. Here is Tony Morosi and the band Selfish Theme with The Presidents. Here's Tony.
I remember Armstrong when he walked up on the moon. Soon after that was Woodstock, and Vietnam was in full bloom. The man who was in office was about to relocate, accusing him of burglary, and they called it Watergate. Okay, here we go. Well, the man that followed after him, his name was Gerald Ford. He granted Dick a pardon, but to keep from getting bored, he always had his hands full with his alcoholic wife. I guess I'm not the only one who didn't have a life. Then after Ford came Carter, right off the peanut farm. Interest rates, inflation, and the Soviets up in arms. Now I'm no politician. If I were, I'd have to say, the hell with foreign policy. God bless the USA. Now we finally picked a winner, and he came from Hollywood. His name was Ronald Reagan, and he did the best he could. Now I know he was an actor, but at least he had some balls. By the time that he left office, there was no more Berlin Wall. All right, piano, let's hear some piano. Know what to do after this, right? Okay, here we go. 2, 3. Now the next 10 years of presidents were the father and his son. And in between their offices, there stood another one. His name was William Clinton, and he didn't get too far. He'll go down in history for the Monica cigar. Oh, Bill. Oh, Bill. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Any old hoop.
Tony Morosi and the Recovery Band team with the Presidents. Do with that what you will. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with everybody else here. And we are wishing God's perfect serenity for each and every one of you.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
kitty.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.